Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ardina Hidayanur from class A24. So in this video, I'm going to explain about the learning material that I selected from chapter 4, My School Activities of the book English for Nusantara for Junior High School Grade 7. So I will show how the material in this chapter is being used, how it is supported by the audio, and how it is connected to the exercises that I created using Quizizz. And then I will also explain the types of questions that being used, how students complete the exercises, and the statement criteria that I applied in this lesson. So now let's move and see to the material from chapter 4, My School Activities. Okay, so this is the chapter that I chose from book English for Nusantara for Junior High School Grade 7, and the chapter that I chose is chapter 4, My School Activities. And these are the learning objectives. So in this chapter 4, the students should be able to first talk about class schedules and school subjects, second talk about online learning tips, and then the last one is to describe one's study habits. And in this chapter 4, it consists 3 units. So in unit 1 is my class schedule, talking about class schedules and then the class subjects. And then in unit 2, talk about my online class. It is talking about online learning tip. And then the last unit, in unit 3, it's about my study habits, and this describing one's study habits. So for the audio, I found it on YouTube here, and then in their description they give us a folder to the audio, to all of the audio in the chapter 4. So in here all the audio is clear, so students can understand the audio clearly. Okay, so this chapter mainly discusses about how students talk about their school life, especially their class schedule, and the focus is not only on vocabulary but also on how language is used in real communication. So students are not just memorizing words, but they are learning how to ask and answer questions in context. And in this chapter, students are introduced to common expressions that used in daily school interactions. And as we can see here in Unit 1, My Class Schedule, so they have section 1, Say What You Know. Before learn, there are questions to be answered from students first, and then in part C, in section 1, there is listen to audio 4.1. So in this activity, students need to fill the blank based on what they have learned in audio 4.1. So here is the audio.
1. Natural Sciences. 2. Art and Culture. 3. Indonesian Language. 4. Maths. 5. Information and Communication Technology. 6. Religious Education. 7. English. 8. Physical Education. 9. Social Sciences. 10. Civic Education.
Okay, and then after part C, here we come for section 2, and then it's listening again, listen to audio 4.2. So in here, students, it is about a dialogues about some students are talking about their school subjects and days. this is the example that students are introduced to common expression used in daily life in school interaction. So for the audio 4.2, here is the audio.
Audio 4.2. Dialogue 1.
Do you have natural sciences on Wednesday?
No, I don't.
Dialogue 2.
What do you have on Monday?
I have PE, English, and Maths on Monday. Dialogue 3.
When does Yusi have ICT? She has ICT on Tuesday.
And in part C, there is audio 4.3. So in here, students are going to listening again. So in here, there are also some conversation in school, daily conversation in school. And for the audio 4.3, here is the audio.
Audio 4.3.
Kak Sinta, do you have English on Tuesdays?
No, I don't. Why are you asking?
I just wanted to borrow your dictionary. I have English on that day.
Sure, go ahead. Anyway, I have English on Monday and Wednesday.
Oh, great! My English class is on Tuesday and Thursday.
Alright then, you can use my dictionary on Tuesday or Thursday.
Thanks, Kak Sinta.
Anytime.
Alright, and then now move to part D, and then section 3, there are listening tests again. Listen to audio 4.4. So in this audio, some students are talking about their school subjects and time. Here is the audio 4.4.
Audio 4.4. Dialogue 1. What time do you have Indonesian language?
I have Indonesian language on Monday at 11 o'clock.
Dialogue 2.
What time does Galang have English?
He has English on Friday at 8 o'clock. Dialogue 3.
What time do you have social sciences? I have social sciences on Thursday at 10:20.
Now we move to section 4, language focus. So in here, there are listening tests again. To listen to audio 4.6.
Audio 4.6. What do you have on Monday?
I have PE, English, and Math on Monday.
What time do you have social sciences?
I have social sciences on Thursday at 10:20.
What time does she have English?
She has English on Wednesday at 1:30.
What time does he have Maths?
He has Math on Thursday at 8:40.
When do you have Indonesian language?
I have Indonesian language on Tuesday and Wednesday.
When does she have art and culture?
She has art and culture on Friday.
When does he have ICT?
He has ICT on Tuesday.
And then now we move to section 5, and then this is the last listening test in this chapter. Listen to audio 4.7. So in this audio, Monita is describing her class schedule. Here is the audio 4.7.
Audio 4.7.
My class schedule. Hello, this is my school schedule. I study at school from Monday to Friday. I start my school activities at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't have any classes on Monday at 8 o'clock because we have a flag ceremony. From Monday to Thursday, I go home from school at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I only have 2 classes on Friday, so I go home before noon. Now, let me talk about some school subjects. My favorite subjects are English, Natural Sciences, and Arts and Culture. I have English on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Mondays and Wednesdays, I have Natural Sciences. Finally, I have Arts and Culture on Fridays.
So if we also look deeper to this chapter, this chapter also trains students to understand patterns. So for example, the structure, I have subject on day, so it's repeated many times. So this repetition helps students become familiar with the structure and use it more naturally. For example, in this, I have PE, English, and Maths on Monday. It keeps repetition about these patterns in this chapter, so it will help students to become familiar with it. And then also another important part of this chapter is the use of the language. The book does not only give isolated sentences but also provides conversations. So these conversations function as audio input. When students listen to the dialogue, they can hear pronunciation, intonation, and how the sentences are connected in real situations. Okay, so for the assessment, I make 7 questions. So 3 questions are multiple choices and 4 questions are fill in the blanks. Okay, now if we connect the material to the quiz that I created on Quizizz, the goal is to check whether students really understand the expression or not. So the indication of learning in this lesson can be seen from how students respond to the questions. If they can identify whether a sentence is asking about a schedule or giving information, it means they understand the function of the sentence. Also, if they can complete missing parts like the day, subject, or time correctly, it shows that they understand both meaning and structure. So to measure this, I use Quizizz as a tool to create the quiz. I choose Quizizz because it is simple, engaging, and suitable for individual work. So in this quiz, I use 2 types of questions. The first type is multiple choice. This type focuses on recognition. So students read a sentence and then decide what it means and what it is about. Number 1 and number 2 and number 3 is the multiple choices questions. So for example, it is look like this. And then the second type of question is fill in the blank, number 4 until number 7. So I make 7 questions. So the second type is more challenging because students need to produce the correct answer. So they need to listen it carefully to the audio so they can fill the blank in here. So I made 7 questions, 3 questions multiple choice, and then 4 question is fill in the blanks. Okay, so now for the assessment criteria. So after students complete the quiz, their scores are categorized into 4 levels. First, scores between 90 and 100 are categorized as excellent, which means the student has a very strong understanding of the material. And then scores between 75 and 89 are categorized as good, meaning the students understand most of the material. And scores between 60 and 74 are categorized as fair, which indicates basic understanding but still needs improvement. And lastly, scores below 60 are categorized as poor, meaning the students needs more guidance and practice. So this assessment helps measure students' understanding clearly and shows how well they achieve the learning objectives. Alright, so in conclusion, the material from Chapter 4 of English for Nusantara for Junior High School Grade 7 provides a clear and practical way for students to learn how to talk about their school schedule. And the use of expressions supported by dialogue and audio, it helps students to understand how language is used in real situations. and this is then strengthened through exercises created in Quizizz that using two types of questions, the multiple choice and then fill in the blank questions, which measure different levels of understanding. So, through individual work and clear assessment criteria, this lesson will allow me to see student comprehension both in recognizing meaning and producing accurate information. So overall, the integration between the book, the audio, and the exercises support students in achieving the learning objective effectively. So I think that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching this video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.